We are nearly halfway through this year, and this means a new Home Assistant release for this coming month of July. So let's look at the various updates that we are going to get. Firstly, automations via purpose-specific triggers and conditions, which was introduced via the lab section, will now become default for everyone. This changes how we create automations, that is to concentrate on what we want to do rather than how to do it. So now moving forward, we will select triggers based on what the entity or device offers. Like here we have a battery level threshold cross trigger, which you can select instead of trying to figure out how to do it. That is whether to select a state or a numeric trigger. Then we can build automations around areas, like for example on selecting an area here, we have triggers like when the battery level changes for devices in the area, then motion was triggered in the area, wherein with this trigger you can select whether the trigger should be per device or on the first device, or if all the devices are triggered. Along with this, you have this illustration to help you to understand what each option means. I really like these illustrations which make it clear what would happen rather than me scratching my head to figure it out. Now, since this is going to be the default option for automations, you don't have to worry about any breaking changes. Your existing automations would just work as they were working before. Then in this release, the activity logbook got some new changes. Currently, we see this activity log like this with long text, which makes it difficult to understand at a glance what is happening. But now this has revamped to look like this, where you can clearly understand what has happened over time. Firstly, they are grouped as today, yesterday with date headers, and the color dots indicates on or off states very easily. You can further expand it to see more details and even add another entity to it to have a single timeline across entities. Then you can also see this activity log here, which shows you the state transition and the time when it happened. I like this for its simple layout, which makes it now easy to understand what has happened over time. Then for the update page, we used to see all the updates in a single list, but in this release, we now have these cards which group updates such as Home Assistant updates, integrations, apps, and even skipped updates in their own cards. You can then select update all on each card to update the group all at once. Then in this release, if you add a timestamp entity to a tile card, then you get this ability to change the time display format. Like here, for example, you can change this to relative, total, date, and time as per your liking. Then in the settings page, you will have two new panels that are for radio and infrared to list all your proxies and transmitters only if you have configured them. Then we have some noteworthy improvements, like you can edit a running timer duration without the need to cancel and start over. You can hide and unhide columns in the state tab of the developer tools. Matter certified soil moisture sensors will now show up in Home Assistant, and if you are running Home Assistant on a Raspberry Pi, then you can keep the firmware up to date using Home Assistant with the firmware update entity. Then finally, for Zigbee home automation devices, we now have a dedicated Zigbee device management page with information about the device, the cluster it is connected to, bindings, signature, and also a list of neighboring Zigbee devices that this device can see. Now these updates are part of the beta release, so make sure to join the release party this coming Wednesday. Now, if you like to see such quick updates about Home Assistant releases and about making your home smart, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, you may find these videos interesting, so go check them out. Till then, I'll see you in my next one.